What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of The Captain's Run, and we have an absolutely red-hot show for you today. North Queensland Cowboys Robert Derby joins the show after 2 o'clock. The great skipper Scope, Sir Scopius, he'll be joining us in the middle hour from 1 till 2. And all the latest NRL news from the weekend, including Lockie Galvin debut, all the latest news from Origin camps, and a full round 15 preview. A massive, massive welcome to SEN 1170, 620 on the Gold Coast, and also SENQ 693 and the SEN app. If you want to listen to us anytime you want, literally anytime you want, head to Apple and Spotify. Give it The Captain's Run a follow on Spotify. And also text us at 0457 736 736. I want to know, what are your thoughts? The huge story across the week, it has been Billy Slater, not just the DCE, Dearden. Now, a lot of people thought, okay, there's a bit of an expectation about Dearden and DCE, and that might be the storyline. I tell you what, Billy said, no, hold my beer. I'm going to make a few more changes than that. We got Paddy Carrigan. We got Trent Leoro starting. Fodawaker keeps his starting role. We've got Val Holmes moving into centre. Hammer moving to the wing. A lot of changes happening. So, listen, we'll see. We'll see how it all turns out. Is Billy Slater a genius, or has he lost his mind? Or maybe it's somewhere in the middle. Maybe it's just, okay, mate, it's a few right decisions, a few wrong decisions. I would love to know. 0457 736 736. What are your thoughts about the Queensland selection? Should have it been Dearden? Should have it been DCE? And also, what are your thoughts about the blue selection of moving Max King to the starting position and moving Stefano onto the bench? A lot of people had Key on there, maybe Terrell May. I'd love to hear your thoughts. 0457 736 736. Mate, but first of all, welcome, mate. What are your thoughts of the...
Morning, Kemp. Morning, Kempy, rather. My apologies. Morning, Kemp. I was just
mate, you can call
time.
me Kemp. You can call me Kemp.
G'day, Kemp. Mate, I'm very intrigued by the Keon missing out.
Yep.
I know he's in the squad.
Yep.
But I really did think that he was going to get a shot.
Yeah.
And that seemed to be where it looked like it was going.
Yeah.
That's, and he's performed so well. He's been the form prop or one of the form forwards of the competition. Not to say Stefano's been bad, but or just not as good as Keon, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But that's probably my biggest shock.
Yeah, look, I would have gone Keon as well. However, I can understand the thought process because, how often, especially, Blues coach, they've been absolutely torn to shreds when people go, hang on a sec, you pick this squad for game one, and then game two rolls around, and you guys get moved out and other guys get moved in, even though there's injuries. And the argument is like, why did you think that was going to be the best squad for the series? But then that everything changes before game two, and a bloke has a couple of games, and all of a sudden he's being brought in. So I can understand, and it is and look, I want to take nothing away from Daly at all, but it is a very bellyache approach to go, no, we had this plan in place, we're sticking to this plan. The plan was Stefano was going to be brought in if Payne Haas wasn't ready to go, and a couple of games from Keon doesn't really change that. And so I understand the thought process. I don't necessarily agree with it fully. As I said, initially I would have had Keon starting, but then I thought about it. Max King on the weekend was unbelievable.
It's huge.
He was
couple of
huge.
Big hits too.
Yeah, and so he ran for 200-plus metres. He was great in attack, and I just wonder, maybe it is the right call to start him. When he's in this kind of red-hot form, he's already been in the middle when it comes to Origin. It's the smallest change in regards to, you're not bringing a guy all the way out of the squad into the starting side. And so, I think I understand the thought process. I understand that, especially Max King starting. The Keon, I still would have had Keon on the bench. I just love his versatility.
The idea of a bench that is Spencer Leniu and Keon coming on.
Hudson Young as well.
That is scary, and obviously as a Maroons man, I feel like you've possibly got out of it easier.
Yeah, it's a good point. If Hudson Young and Keon are coming on at the same time, think about the impact that is. You are truly, but you're basically bringing on, Connor Watson, Spencer Leniu, Hudson Young and Keon. All four of those blokes could win you the match and just decimate defensive sides.
Connor's done it.
Yeah, 100%.
Was it last game 3 last year?
And also, he was a part of the try as well when he came on this time as well.
Dylan Edwards.
Yeah. So it's just I look at it and I do understand what you're saying in regards to like, I do understand what you're saying in regards to the impact of Keon. It's a much scarier prospect. Got some text here. Kemp, you are kidding. Don't you think the majority of people that listen to this program have had enough of hearing about Galvin? Give us a break and find something new to talk about. Okay. Stefano is literally only there because of Bellamy. His game hasn't improved since going to Melbourne. It's a terrible decision. There's 10 other props in much better form than him. Look, I understand, where you're coming from. I really do. I don't know about a terrible decision. Like, I don't think, if you actually watch Stefano on the weekend, he was quite good. But I do think that if you were to say, if Stefano was at any other club other than the Melbourne Storm, would he have got selected? I don't think he would have. I think the fact that Bellyache knows him, he knows what kind of player he is, he knows what makes him tick. I do think that played a part in it. And I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that. Even though I would have gone Keon, I don't think there's anything wrong with a guy in the coaching staff saying, listen, I know this bloke. I know what makes him tick. I know how to get him up for a game. I know exactly how to coach him to get the best out of him. Again, that doesn't mean I would have picked Stefano. I would have gone Keon. But I can understand the thought process. You're about to go into a decider. As a coach, do you want someone in there that you don't really know how to get the best out of, or someone that you are very sure of what happens? I can understand. You can understand the way someone's thinking without agreeing with it. You know what I'm saying?
That's kind of what you guys did in the dynasty, right? Is that you backed people you knew could do the job for you.
Great point. And I think, there were a lot of players that were playing for the Melbourne Storm at the time that probably got selected because of the Smith, Cronk, Slater connection. That was like, listen, is he individually as good as some of these other guys? No. But do we know he is going to do a very basic minimum of a job for us that we need to make sure that we get the win? Yes, he probably is going to do. So knowing people, like, how often have we talked about selecting players because they have a good combination with another player beside them? It's the exact same thing with coaching. You've got to have good combinations with people. So that's where I think the selection has kind of come from. And look, I'm hoping, even though I would have gone Keon, I'm hoping the best for Stefano. Like, this is a real opportunity. I do think this is, it's almost a line in the sand moment for Stefano to a degree. Like, granted, if you actually look at the history of recruits that go to Melbourne, the first thing that they do is they strip back their attack. They tell those recruits, I don't even want to talk to you about attack. Don't even bother about it. Your main priority this year, in your first year at the Melbourne Storm, is your defence. And if you actually go back and you go look at Katoa when he arrived, he actually had a really quiet first year. But if you go and look at his defence, it was a marked improvement. Then you actually, remember Blore came to the club, relatively quiet year, but his defence was much better. Guess whose defence has gotten better by his tackle efficiency has gotten better by about 3 or 4% since arriving at the Melbourne Storm? Stefano. So there is a method to their madness per se at the Melbourne Storm. Now, I got some more text here. Kempy, honestly, do you think Queensland have a chance with the changes to you? Look, I think they've got a chance for sure. I really do. I just think that the concern I have with all the changes, because it's not just a few changes with Queensland, there are a lot of changes. And I guess anytime there are that many changes, you're basically admitting I got it super wrong. Like in game one, I got it super wrong. Not just a little bit wrong, I got it super wrong. And I look at that Queensland pack and I go, imagine a starting pack of Tino, Paddy, Lioro, rather than Tino, Fodawaker, Lioro. I think you'd find a way to get Carrigan into the starting side. I understand the thought process of listen, their bench just killed us last time. Absolutely killed us. So we've got to bring Paddy off the bench. We've got to bring Nanai off the bench. I can understand Nanai off the bench because a lot of Nanai's big moments didn't happen because he was on there for 80 minutes. They were just big moments that you can have off the bench, that you can bring energy off the bench. So Nanai was one of our better players in game one. So I get the thought process there with Nanai, but with Paddy, I could understand if we had a really good replacement where we were like, yeah, this guy is this close to being as good as Paddy. But I just don't know whether that is the case with the current starting. I just don't know if that's the case. I got some more text here. Kempy, drink these numbers in. Dearden winning record, number 6 in the NRL, 79 games, 47 wins. Dearden winning record at 7, 34 games, 5 wins. But where did he have most of those losses, brother? When he was at the Broncos, when they were playing terrible rugby league. So, come on, mate. I think you're picking some stats to suit your agenda there. I don't know. Maybe, hey, you know what? We'll soon find out. G'day, Kempy. I'm New South Wales through and through. I cannot fathom how Corey Horsburgh is not on the Queensland side. You need a hard edge outside Tino, and honestly, you don't have it. Put Carrigan Putting Carrigan back to the bench says it all, and axing your captain after one game reeks desperation. Good luck with the rookie 7, Craig from Collaroy. I'm with you in Horsburgh. I had Horsburgh in my side as well. I think he does add a hard edge. I will say, in regards to axing your captain, the people, what's not being brought up that much is it was 3 games on the trot that he'd lost. And he was already under pressure heading into game 1 to keep his spot. And I actually think the game 1 was the chance. That was all right, you know what? Your form hasn't been that consistent leading into this position, leading into getting selected. But because you are the captain, you're getting selected. Because of your history in the Origin. Okay, ask this then. If DCE didn't have the career he had in Origin, do you think he would have been selected for game 1? I don't think so. If you just were going in there with form and like how they're playing this season, I think that the Maroons would have started with Dearden at 7, and they would have had Munster at 6. Like even Fogarty potentially could have got 7 if you're just going in purely form. It could have even been Fogarty Dearden at 6. But I think the fact that he did get selected shows you that he was given a chance because of the captaincy, because of his history in Origin, rather than the opposite. But I do understand in regards to Corey Horsburgh. Beak, I never understood NRL fans being upset by their club being left out of Origin. As a Roosters fan, I hate Roosters being selected. I'm about club football. Origin, in my opinion, has jumped the shark. Yes, I'll watch it, but it's not the same these days. Man, I have to strongly disagree. Strongly disagree. Origin is incredible. It's the best sporting events in Australia. I mean, if you're going to tell me that the deciding match in 2023 wasn't some of the most insane rugby league you've ever watched, this is when I'm pretty sure like Cobbo got knocked out. I think Cam Murray got knocked out. Did Teddy end up getting knocked out? Like, it was just an absolute carnage. Mate, that is as good as any Origin game that I've ever watched. It was unbelievable.
The last 2 deciders we've had.
Oh, last year, 2024.
Insane.
Like literally couldn't score a point on each other for like 60 minutes essentially, other than a conversion. And then eventually the dam broke. Like, amazing game.
Like if you're talking about theatre or wanting to watch something, those last 2 deciders, that's where it's at.
Yeah, tell me where you can find an Australian sport with that much intensity and going for that long, where he is on a knife's edge with that much aggression, that many big hits. You just don't find it. You don't find that kind of stuff. I mean, even the grand final aren't as good as that. You could go to the Broncos-Penrith grand final, which was amazing, one of the greatest of all time. But Origin, year after year, essentially delivers some of the best rugby league we've ever seen. Granted, did the ref the Origin out of game 1? He absolutely did. I couldn't believe what I was watching. Like, talk about making it a dud game 1. Like, I think it ended up being about 21 penalties all up, if you include 6 against. In Origin. What? Ridiculous.
That was so early too.
There was 3 in the first set or something.
Yeah.
Like, and what's crazy, and I hate to bring this up. So there was a penalty for holding the face. The same referee on the goal line in Clubland a week later didn't blow a penalty whilst looking at a bloke having a hand on face. So the same referee in Clubland doesn't call that penalty, and it's in the middle of the game too. Literally in the middle of the game, not even the first set, but in the first set of Origin he calls it. Terrible. I just don't understand it. Alrighty. Beak, I'm sorry, mate. Origin 1 was pathetic. So you've quit. Okay, Matt, let me get this straight, brother. You've quit Origin for good because of just one game. Is that what you're telling me? No way. No way. Come back, son. Come back. I'll give you, you know what? I'll give you 20 good games over the past 10 years. How about that? And then you can come back. Alrighty, we're going to head to a break. We've got plenty more to talk about. We've got the New South Wales squad we've spoken about a little bit. We've got the Queensland squad changes. We're going to go into a deep dive into some key moments, including some audio from Laurie Daly. Welcome back to the Captain's Run. Plenty of text streaming through 0457 736 736. Text in your thoughts about Origin. The big bombshells yesterday. Billy Slater making huge changes to the side. Got some text here. Kempy, do you think Dearden is just a gap filler till Sammy Walker is ready for Origin? I don't think gap filler. I think Dearden's there long term. And I think that long term, they're probably looking at him at 6. And then they're probably, Sam Walker or Fogarty could come in at 7. I think Fogarty is someone that you go, you actually look at his win record at the Raiders. When he's fit, I think he's got a 60% win record at the Raiders. Not only that, like he's managed to take the Raiders to a premiership threat in the years that he's been there. I think he could go a lot worse than a fully fit Fogarty. Let's say next year maybe Munster, maybe it's his last year this year or next year. That means that Fogarty would be 32, I think, at that stage. It's something to think about anyway. Okay, got some text here, guys, as well. I'm just trying to find... Okay, hey, Kempy, it's wonderful listening to you toads melt down defending the indefensible. Slater, you, Smith, Tallis, Reed and co. Now blaming the refs. It's hilarious. Marky Mark, mate, I'll tell you, it's actually the opposite if you've listened to me. I actually think if the ref had have let it flow, New South Wales score 40 points, maybe even bloody 50, because New South Wales were so much better on game one that they were so much more ready to play Origin-style footy that if they let the game flow, I actually think that they blow Queensland off the park. I think they do. Okay, Kempy, you were dreaming. Queensland always cheat the offside in Origin. They've been getting away with it for years because the referee hasn't penalised it. Klein penalised it in last Origin. You can see the result. Well, I don't actually think the first three penalties weren't for offside, so I'm not too sure about that. They were for contact with the head or holding the head or whatever, and then Latrell Mitchell got penalised for laying in the ruck, I think. Okay, Matt Gerke from Narrowena. Beak, do you prefer Fodawaker over Horsburgh? If so, why does Billy? I prefer, at the moment, I would actually go Horsburgh over Fodawaker. And I actually wouldn't mind Fodawaker off the bench, bringing a lot of impact. But let's get into some of these key questions. So Billy Slater has dropped Cherry Evans. 26 Origins for Queensland, 20 straight at halfback. Oldest ever Origin player. And Tom Dearden will start at halfback for DC. I will say this. I do think that DCE should have... And look, I know in his mind, he's sitting there going... he's going, listen, I'm just going to keep playing until I don't get selected, which is fine. You can never do that. I reckon in a perfect world, and this is hindsight talking, but in a perfect world, I reckon after 2023, he should have just said, you know what? That's it. Just kind of like Cameron Smith. Like Cam Smith could have kept playing Origin, like easily. He won Dally M hooker in the last year of his career. But I think about retirement, it's a really fine art of knowing when to go out on top. And look, maybe that's just ego speaking. Like no one's ever sitting here questioning DCE's Origin career at all. But I reckon if he could have his time again, maybe he would have gone, you know what, 2023, go out on top. There's some other guys like Dearden coming through now. I guess we'll see. Hey boys, you hammered me for calling Carrigan to be dropped, and I said I was a clown. Told ya, he has been hopeless all year. Lucky to have a bench spot. See, the listeners can be right. Every now and then. Chop coughs. Okay, bro. If you think you calling for Carrigan being dropped is the same from him to being moved to the bench, then fair enough. You can have that win, brother. You can have that win. Mate, Coach of the Year is no question. It's Ricky Stewart. What has he done with such a young side to bring them to the top of the ladder against all odds is beyond anything that any coach has done. Ciro is great, but has to be Ricky. Because I put out on my Instagram, guys, on Bloke Instagram, who is the current Dally M Coach of the Year so far? Who would you give the Dally M Coach of the Year so far? But anyway, back to Origin chat. We've got some audio from Laurie Daly when it comes to the threat of Munster and Dearden.
He's an outstanding player, Tom, and we'll have our hands full. And that's, something that, in game one we controlled really well, but game two will need to be a lot better because him and Munster teaming up together, their running threat is massive.
Yeah, and so when I thought about this initially, I was like, where is the kicking game? Like, seriously, where is the kicking game? However, I would say only look to the Melbourne Storm, whose long kicking game is almost non-existent, really. Like, Jerome Hughes is not noted for his long kicking game. He's got a decent long kicking game, but I actually think I'd love to, you know what? We'll get Matty. Matty, can you check Jerome Hughes' average kicking meters for the season so far? Because I would love to compare that to, say, a Mitchell Moses and a Cleary. So initially I was like, where are they going to get their kicking meters from? But then I was like, well, hang on a sec. Melbourne Storm are the premiership favourites right now. And you would have to say Dearden is closer to Hughes than he is to, say, a Cleary or a Moses in regards to they both rely quite heavily on their running game. Now, I think Hughes at the moment is a better player. He's definitely a better 7. He's won a Dally M. But in regards to their style of play, maybe Billy Slater is going, okay, in the first game, DCE didn't really kick that much. So if we're relying on him to be selected to be the kicker, well, he didn't do it in the first game. So why don't we just go all the way in on 2 running halves. I don't know whether it'll actually work, but that is the thought process that I think Billy Slater is coming from. What do you reckon, mate?
Could they be doing a bit of a Melbourne Storm copy, hence why Liero's coming in?
And they're putting him at 13, potentially. But I think with that, surely Liero's there just to do the grunt work for 20 minutes in the middle.
Just get it done.
And then Carrigan comes on and plays 60.
It's kind of like Fodawaker as well, right? Like
surely.
He'll just start, it's reliable, and then you've got these boys that come on and change it.
I would be shocked if Liero plays more minutes than Carrigan. I'd be shocked.
Yep.
I think that, like, if you really think that, let's say that Billy Slater had the choice between Carrigan or Lioro just to be in the side, period. There's no way I think he's picking Lioro. Like, I just don't think that. I think that he's been moved to the starting side to get through the grunt work with his defence. And then I think Carrigan will come on and play at least 60 minutes, at least 50 to 60 minutes. And I think you'll find Lioro will probably play around 20 to 30 minutes. Same with Fodawaker.
With the kicking game as well, you are getting a little bit with Harry Grant coming out of dummy half as well. Like, he's quite good there. So they'll make up a little bit there.
Matty, could you get Cleary and Moses' average kicking metres, please? So at the moment, Hughes' average kicking metres in every game is 279 metres. Compared to DC, it's 436.
Wow.
And so Dearden's current average kicking metres is 127. He hasn't spent that long at 7, but it's much closer to, I would assume, I'm going to guess, I haven't got the numbers yet, but I reckon Cleary's is about 350 to 400, 500. Okay, got the message here? Okay, there we go. Cleary averages 540 metres kicked per game, and Moses 554 metres kicked per game. Whereas Hughes, who won the Dally M number 7, 279 kick metres per game. So I think they're going to really try and target into the Melbourne Storm style of play with Dearden and Munster and go, you know what? Yep, okay, we don't have the kicking game. So what are we going to do? This is what Melbourne Storm try to do, is just super quick play the balls, and you actually gain all your metres by having quick play the balls and playing front foot footy around the ruck. You watch the Melbourne Storm all the time. It is all about, as soon as we see a quick play the ball, Harry Grant jumps out and everyone's on the front foot, and we are just rolling down the hill. The amount of times that the Melbourne Storm score tries not from great out the back plays or whatever, purely from the fact that the team that is defending them doesn't have time to get back and kind of get off the line. It's honestly, it's a lot of their tries. And so I think Billy Slater's gone, you know what, let's go all in. Don't worry about the kicking game. Let's just try and get quick play the balls. Because also, who also wins that battle? It's Harry Grant. That suits Harry Grant as well. Harry Grant doesn't actually suit the conservative style of, slow play the balls, long kicking games. He suits quick play the balls, get out, on front foot. And so I think you're going to see a game plan where Kalen Ponga is around the ruck a lot. Dearden and Munster are up flat. And they're just going to try and roll through the big boys of the New South Wales pack. And I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I even think that's probably the only way you're going to beat this. You're not going to out-muscle this New South Wales side. And so I look at it and I go, I think that Slater has gone, let's play exactly like the Melbourne Storm. Fast play the balls, Harry Grant on the front foot. Don't worry about the kicking game, and almost beat them with speed through the ruck. All righty, we're going to head to a break. After the break, plenty more to talk about. So much to talk about. Kurt Mann making his debut. We haven't even mentioned it. See you on the other side. Welcome back to the Captain's Run. Plenty more to talk about, and that is Kurt Mann getting his debut on the bench. What a great story. And what I love about it is, he was so good on the weekend, and he is a specialist bench player because most weekends he actually comes off the bench for the Bulldogs. Even Haywood for the Bulldogs started this week for the Bulldogs. And I like the fact that, him coming off the bench, a lot of the time with Origin, you're selecting players that are starting for their club team. And so, they're not actually used to coming off the bench. Not all the time. You obviously got Spencer Leonard, who was used to coming off the bench. But for Queensland, what I like about it is, for that role, usually it's like a Dearden or a Hun, who usually in club, or Grant even, they don't come off the bench. What I'm excited for is, he is totally used to it. He knows the feeling. He knows exactly what he needs to do to immediately get himself into the game. And I'm just super excited for him. And what a journey. He's at the Knights and, he's all these different positions and they allow him to go and he gets almost like a lifeline of the Bulldogs, and he's signed as this utility kind of, just rebuilding the club. He now is going to make his debut in a decider. That's incredible journey. What do you reckon, mate?
I also am quite baffled that he was 32.
Yeah, he's old.
That shocked me.
Yeah. He was at the Dragons, remember?
Yeah, and had a bit of time at the Storm
Yep.
before that as well. I was talking with Jimmy yesterday about this Newcastle Knights effect, where there's a bunch of players that because they're at the Knights, you somehow just kind of forget about them or not necessarily don't rate them, but they just slip under the radar. Stafford Toa was the one we were talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
Kurt Mann's another one of those.
Yep.
Where you just
Connor
go,
Watson.
Exactly.
Both utilities for both Origin sides were let go by the Newcastle Knights.
There you go. There's a stat.
Oh.
That is, yeah, if you're listening, Knights fans.
Sorry, Knights
Sorry
fans.
about that.
I know it's been a rough couple of weeks for you. I mean, look, hey, listen, when Broncos aren't going well, we talk about them too.
You hear it. But yeah, credit to him. That's just so exciting for him. And to get to make the debut at 32, like, age doesn't matter, but that's, he would have thought it was gone. He would have thought that wasn't an option.
Yeah.
Especially being signed as part of that utility crew that the Bulldogs had.
Mental.
But yeah, here we are. Very exciting.
Very, very exciting. Got a text here. All the best beating New South Wales with Melbourne Storm's game book whilst Bellamy sits in the coach's box. Yeah, I mean, it's a great point. But at the same time, I guess what's the alternative? Do you really think that this current Queensland roster is going to outmuscle New South Wales? They're just not. They're not as big. They're not as powerful. I think it's really, it's really just like, okay, this is what we've got. This is the team we've selected. This suits our style of play. Let's just lean all the way into it. And I will say, yes, you've got bellyache in the coach's box, but Cleary, Robson, Moses are not the same players as Munster, Harry Grant, and Pappy, but obviously it will be Ponga this time. So, he might be the best coach ever, but at the same time, the cattle may not respond quickly in the middle when it comes to the forwards trying to defend that kind of Melbourne style of play. But let me be extremely clear. There's a reason why the New South Wales side are raging hot favourites. Queensland are out to $3.10 in a decider. I would love to know when the odds were this bad in a decider for Queensland. Maybe 2020, but very rarely do you see in Origin Queensland at $3.10.
And that worries me.
As a
Blues
New South
man,
Welshman, yeah.
That scares me because I feel like we are being too cocky right now. And with Munster getting the captaincy, I feel like he's going to take it so personally to have a big game.
The problem I have, I get where New South Wales have that kind of fear. It's been 20 years. This always happens. The difference is with this New South Wales current roster compared to, say, the 20 years or whatever. Obviously, yes, the Queensland had all those models. But the difference with the New South Wales side is that you are now the team with guys that are going to be the best of their generation. So, for example, in your team currently, you have Critter, 3 premierships, 3 or 4 premierships. You've got Cleary, 4 premierships. You've got To'o, 4 premierships. Isaiah Yeo, 4 premierships. Dylan Edwards, 4 premierships. That swagger and confidence in what they do, it's almost they are used to being the front runners. They are used to being the big dogs in the situation because Penrith have been the big dogs in the situation. Whereas if you go back to that 2008 onwards or 2006 onwards, that was us with the Melbourne Storm. That was Cameron Smith, Darren Lockyer from the Broncos, Cooper Cronk, Billy Slater, GI. They were the ones that were winning the most of, at least winning the most footy at club compared to the New South Wales side, which, they might have had sides that were good, that were going all right. But, really it was probably Manly and the Roosters that were the top tier sides. And I mean, you look at the Roosters, they kept putting Pearcey in and it just didn't seem to work. And then they'd put someone else in. And, you had the Sharkies who had one good year, but outside of that, they weren't really the number one side. And so that's where I look at a lot of people. I understand why New South Wales are nervous, but the difference is you have the big dogs in your side that are used to winning matches as favourites. Do you think Critter goes into Suncorp nervous, worried? Do you don't think Edwards, Yeo, To'o go and look at Suncorp and go, oh, the big bag Suncorp, or oh, the big bad Queensland?
They thrive off it.
I don't think they look like that. They're so used to winning. They don't think like that at all. In 2021, the first Origin series where there was a lot of a lot of Penrith players in it, it was a record margin win by New South Wales. And so I think that I look at that, and that's what concerns me most as a Queenslander is you now have the guys that walk into Origin with their shoulders squared back going, this is our domain. And I know they haven't had as much dominance as that era. No one's ever going to have as much dominance as that era. That was a once in a lifetime. But I tell you what, no one's ever had the club dominance that Penrith have had. They just haven't. And right now, if everything continues on as is, since 2018, I think it would be 4-3 to New South Wales. If New South Wales go on to win, I think it'll be 4-3 to New South Wales since 2018. So 18-19 New South Wales, 20 Queensland, 21 New South Wales, 22-23 Queensland, and then 24-25.
So it'll be 5. If we win this, it'll be 5-4.
It'll be 5-4.
Yep.
And so, like, that's a winning percentage to this current crop that is only 20, average age of the backline is like 25 or something like that.
These guys seem to have like a bounce back effect as well, which I feel like your Smith, your JT, all that had. If something doesn't go their way, they go, all right, next one it is.
Winning's a habit. It's like almost like a disease. When you do it as much as that core group has done, and even Mitch Moses, he's been in a grand final recently of the last, 2022.
In the game last year.
Yeah, he won at Suncorp. Then you've got Payne Haas, who is a generational freak. You've got Latrell Mitchell, generational freak. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that the idea that this New South Wales has the same mentality as New South Wales maybe 10 years ago, and no disrespect to that New South Wales, I understand why they felt like, oh man, these guys are just unbeatable. I get it. It was full of immortals. But it is now New South Wales with the winning mentality in clubland as well. Think about, when was the last time a Queensland side won the NRL? It's 2015.
It's that, yeah, that's snuck,
that's
snuck up on you.
And it's not being spoken about enough that Queensland hasn't won a premiership since 2015. In Origin, yes, we have these underdog moments. 2020, just like these amazing moments, 20 and then 22 and 23.
Yep.
But outside of that, like it really, New South Wales have been dominant in rugby league, clubland from 2015, and then also in Origin, you'll be 5-4 up if you win this series. Well, not even that. I think you'll actually be more than that. So since 2018, we've won 3 series: 22, 23, and 20. So it'd actually be more. So you guys have won 18, 19, 21, 24, 25. So that's actually that's 5. That's 5. You'll be 5-3.
5-3
if you win this series.
And honestly, if you mentioned that the big 2020 year, and then obviously 2023 was that the Ben Hunt intercept. Like, it came down to the last game anyway.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
that was the carnage we talked about. Those are games that we easily could have won.
Easily could have won.
And it
was just a big moment from a guy from Ben Hunt is from the last generation as well. Ironically, DCE from the last generation. Munster also from the last generation.
That's it. But yeah, it could have easily been, much more dominant.
Yeah, for sure. And that's where you could look at it and you could say, geez, we had an opportunity to be like 5-1 or 6-2 or something like that. But as I said, that's the difference in this current generation. It is the New South Wales side that win club. It is a New South Wales side that has generational talent that are at a young age. Like we've got Munster that's a bit older. Outside of that, I'm trying to think in regard to like Tino to a degree, but he hasn't fully used straps yet in regards to being at a dominant club. So yeah, we will see. We will see. We're going to head to a break. We got plenty more. We've got plenty more to talk about, guys. We've got kick out being cleared by the NRL. We've got Knights fans starting permission. We've got so much more. So make sure to stay tuned. Welcome back to the Captain's Run. Listen, I'm getting some strange texts coming into Australia's demographics have changed. It's not 1980. The comp isn't full of names. Matthew, Mark, Luke, Gary, John. I think I'm getting a text to, here's another one. Where does waste-to-energy technology sit amongst other energy sources? It requires no mining or law changes. Surely the heavy filtered emissions it gives off is less harmful than methane gas. Okay. Listen, I don't think that's supposed to be for the Captain's Run, the Resi runs, but we'll see. We'll see. I tell you what, this is the text board, honestly, in its most pure form. So one text was unbelievable analysis. That's got to go. And that the ego, it just goes, yeah, how good. I'm trying hard. I'm getting good feedback. Then literally the next text is, love you, Kemp, but can SEN lash out and get you a co-host? Oh, it's just a text board. And one second it can just build you up, and the next second it'll just bring you straight back down to earth.
Absolutely crush you. Sorry that I'm not doing a good enough job as the co-host either. My apologies. I love the text just a little bit lower as well, where it says, remember when he told you you have a body like an alien? Must be good to have a mate like that. Relevant.
Okay, what's happening? I don't know. Got some Ruben Cotter is not an edge. He's a middle. Yeah, that's fair. I just think that Ruben Cotter on the edge just shows you how poor our depth is. The depth in the Queensland side, and I'm not, that doesn't mean we still don't have a chance of winning. We absolutely do have a chance of winning. But the depth in the Queensland side compared to New South Wales is genuinely like night and day. Like the fact that we're moving Val back into the centres, we've got a guy that debuted after 10 games. It's just, it's crazy. It is actually crazy. Kemp, Carrigan is the most overrated player in the competition. There are 10 better front rowers and locks than him. Will he cry that he hasn't got his number 13 jersey for Origin? I don't think he'll cry because I'm pretty sure he won a Wally Lewis medal off the bench, if I recall correctly. But we'll see. We will see. Hopefully no tears. Alrighty, we're going to head to a break. After the break, we've got a show to wrap up. Sorry, not a show, an hour to wrap up. And then we've got a whole new hour. Skip a scope. Join us for the second hour. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Captain's Run. We are here for Chemist Warehouse. Get discounted prescriptions and save more money at Chemist Warehouse. Also, head to www.bloke.shop and make sure to grab your Bloke jumper. That's right, maroon and blue jumpers are now available on bloke.shop. I think we only have maybe 15% left of each maroon and blue. So they are going quickly, guys. They will be gone soon. And we've also got the hats as well. So make sure to get your hats at www.bloke.shop. Huge first hour. We've talked about Queensland, their style of play, their selections, people being moved to the bench, Dearden being brought in for DCE. We've talked about the Blues. We've talked about Keon Stefano. We've talked about Bellamy. We've talked a bunch of texts. So much so. Here's a text to leave you with. G'day, Shagger. You know you're up for a show name change when you have to nickname Scope Skipper Scope just to fit your Captain's Run name. You guys are excellent on the radio, but your careers, you weren't even the leadership group. Let's be honest, the reptile. Alrighty, we'll see you after the break. Welcome back to the Captain's Run, and guess who has joined me? We are here for Chemist Warehouse. Get discounted prescriptions and save more money at Chemist Warehouse. Skipper Scope, how you going, brother?
Yeah, Skipper Scope is here, Reptile. Unfortunately for you, excellent on the radio. Mate, I will let you know I was part of the Wakefield Trinity Leadership Group.
Oh, got him.
The back end of my career.
There you go.
I took care of the piss-up. So I was the events coordinator.
Yep.
Very
important role.
Yeah, very important role. And and a very important member of the leadership group in my last couple of seasons, mate. So appreciate at least the wrap with the radio stuff, though.
Yeah, appreciate that. I'll just focus on that bit. Mate, I'd love to get your thoughts. Queensland selections, the bombshells, everything. What are your thoughts, mate?
Sort of seen it coming, right? The main one is the DCE decision. Yep. I didn't have the chance to listen to you on the way in because I was in an Uber this time around. Otherwise, normally I drive in. Have you talked about whether you thought, was it a foregone conclusion straight after game one, or did you think that
I think the way he played, I think
Thursday night?
Yeah, I think it helped. I don't think it was a foregone. I think it'd be crazy. Like if he went out and killed it in those two games, I think he probably would have got the jersey.
Okay.
I do think though that the idea that he should have been given a chance. I think game one was his chance because there was pressure on his position heading into game one.
Yep.
And I think that, unfortunately, it's been 3 games on the trot the Queensland have lost. He's the captain. Is it a 50-50 call? Absolutely. Yeah. I'm not in the camp of it's definitely the right call. However, I personally would have gone Dearden. Do I know it's the right call? I'm just not sure.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure.
Yeah, and you'll never know regardless, right?
Yep.
He could have played DCE and they lost, or they won. You played Dearden. I found it interesting. Just sort of listening to some commentary, and I was wondering if there would have been too much. So I think a lot of people were on the fence with it. It's almost like a 50-50 split.
Yep.
But if he'd brained them on Thursday night and they continue to just, end up pumping Newcastle, would there have been probably more public pressure after dominating the Broncos the week before, and then he put on a kicking masterclass in that game, and then obviously a strong performance against Newcastle. Once it got to the point where they actually got run down and got beaten, I think it sort of made Billy's decision easier if
Yep.
in fact he was going that way either way.
So do you think, though, that if he killed it in both games that he would have got dropped?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my
Yep.
main point. I
Yep.
think if they continue to go on and win that game at Manly, then it might have been a tougher decision, even if he was thinking of it
Yep.
originally. And then off the back of that, obviously the someone had to skipper the team and money. I love the sort of internal pressure that it will put on money.
Yep.
To go after the game. As much as we think about his heroics, it has been a while since he's had that the heroics of the 2020-21 series. So I think it'll get him up. It'll get him going for it.
Yeah. I think that Billy Slater's just gone all in on it. Like, just said, you know what? I need some Munster magic. Because any other way, they're not winning. Like, the only way that Queensland win is if Munster does something, at least plays well. I don't see how any other way they can win unless Munster is at his best.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, they've got to, regardless of whether Money plays well, I think there are so many other players that have to really play well, and New South Wales have to be off the mark for the Queensland to get a result.
Yep.
The other two were Paddy Carrigan and Jeremiah Nanai.
I get the Nanai one to a degree because he was so good game one, but that wasn't because he played 80 minutes. It was these big moments that he had.
Effort areas.
And you can get that from the bench.
Yep.
The Carrigan one makes no sense to me. Like, absolutely. Like, the only thing I can think of is they thought, okay, we actually couldn't go with the Blues bench, so I'm going to get Lioro on there to just do all of the dirty work and just tackle his backside off.
Yep.
And then Carrigan's going to play 50 to 60 minutes straight.
Yeah, for sure. Or like, because maybe he wants Carrigan at the back end, and he's watched Carrigan, and not only this one, but his heroics in the third game last year, where he's just hanging on in the last 15 minutes because he does so much at the start of the game. So yeah, provides that second wave. Huge cause.
What I don't agree with, though, and I don't understand, is Fodawaker and Lioro being the starting side. If I'm going to do that, I'm moving Paddy to the front row potentially, and Trent Lioro to the thinger, and finding a way, if he does gas out, bring Moe on for a little bit or something, and just take some pressure off Carrigan. But I just look at that starting pack for Queensland, and I think it's, compared to the starting pack for New South Wales, it's a big difference in my opinion.
It's going to be a big task for Queensland regardless. I've loved the commentary over the last sort of couple of weeks since game one. It's that New South Wales haven't even won the series yet, but the chat has been very, very entertaining. And someone brought up a good point to us, or I think I sent a comment yesterday. A lot of the kids that went to school and high school in and around the time that Queensland was so dominant, now the loudest in the room, they're the people that are just loving where Queensland are currently at and where New South Wales are at. And it's their opportunity to sort of just pump up, and they feel like they've got Queensland on the ropes.
Yep.
And I just keep going. Like, I sort of look at it as a neutral. It's like, be careful. Like, just poking the bear. Don't poke the bear too much.
I think
get the job done, and then start talking about that stuff after game two. I just think there's been too much of it from New South Wales side, despite me thinking that New South Wales will win game two.
Yeah.
I just think it's just a little bit too early.
There's some dynasty talk already, which is crazy. I will say, though, the difference, I think, with this New South Wales current roster, or at least the last few years, is, especially this roster, actually, is like they're the ones with the dominant period. Like, they got Cleary 4 premierships, Critter 3 premierships, Edwards 4 premierships, Toto 4 premierships, Yo 4 premierships. Like, they are used to winning, and they're also used to winning being favourites.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I just think that they're the ones that walk into the Origin Arena like, we're the big dogs, and we're the big dogs at club. Especially, the last time a Queensland side won a comp was 2015.
Yeah.
And also they haven't really been, I think maybe the Cowboys went to one prelim a few years ago. Maybe, no, the Eels beat them, actually. Did the Eels beat them in a prelim?
They did, yeah.
Yeah, beat them in a prelim.
22.
Then you've got, obviously, Broncos in the grand final. They lost to Penrith. But outside of that, it really has been a dominance by, and I know some people think Melbourne Storm are a Queensland side, but I mean, not anymore. Really, you've got Grant, you've got Munster. Lioro's only just coming to the side, so outside of that, you really just got Grant and Munster.
That's a good point, though. Yeah, the dominance for Queensland coincided with the three main players for Queensland during that period, right?
Yeah.
And that was Slater, Cronk, and then Cameron Smith, obviously. So, and then you chip in with guys like Dallas Johnson, who were part of
Yep.
the system, and that they were all just winning at club level.
Yeah, they were used to winning. They
every
were the big
other year,
dogs.
basically, it felt like. During that.
Well, the Melbourne Storm during that period were the best team in the competition. You know, obviously battling with Manly, battling with the Roosters. And at the moment, it's Penrith that are the best team in the competition. And now the Bulldogs as well have come out of nowhere as the best team in the competition. And I just think that's, you know, it's a different environment. You know, during that period, especially even early 2000s, like all the Queensland players were either in grand finals or winning grand finals. Like early 2000s is the Broncos.
Yeah, the Broncos
then
are strong too.
Then it's the Melbourne Storm. You know, so I think it's a different environment at the moment when it comes to New South Wales players and Queensland players. And the difference as well is like, man, these New South Wales players, they're 25 years old, a lot of them. Like they're young as anything. So they're coming into their prime. And so the idea that this side is going to be complacent, I don't know if this blue side's going to be complacent. This current roster with the age they're at and with the success that they've had.
Yeah, no, it's not the Blues play. I'm not worried about the Blues players. I'm not worried about the roster. And there's been hardly any chat from them.
Yeah.
It's just the energy around the fans. And it's understandable too, right? Like everyone's getting carried away. You know, we can all see it. We feel like there's a really good roster there.
The pick and stick one's the funniest for me because I understand, I get the banter. And I get also the need to say it because for so many years, Queensland said pick and stick, but they got to pick and stick because they had Immortals, so I get it.
Yep.
But Billy Slater has never picked and sticked. He dropped Gagai after winning a series. He dropped Ponga after winning a series. Like, he has never been a pick and stick guy. Since he came into coaching, Ponga was our friggin' best player in 2022.
Yep.
And
then
Walshy came in and debuted. And then obviously vice versa. Like Walshy got dropped after 23.
Yep.
Whether he might have been injured, but I don't think so. And then Gagai, he got dropped after 22 as well.
Yep.
So
he's made big decisions.
This
is huge. How do you see this playing out for Billy? Is my question. Is he in any danger if they lose this game?
No, I don't think so.
Is he all good?
He's got so much cachet as a Queenslander.
I wouldn't do it. Like and every time I hear Billy talk, I love the way he talks about the game and all that. I just think, you know, with how dominant, if it is dominant, if it is if they get game 2 and it's sweeping game 3, does that change anything as well after the series?
I don't think so. Like, who's, you know, okay, you got Hane there. Cam Smith, I doubt he would just go straight into that role. I think he'd probably lean in more towards the Australian. He's just got so much cachet. I think that he would go into Queensland first and say, hey, boys, I'm going to walk away from this. Because you've got to remember, when he was selected as coach, he did that as just a favour because there's no one else.
Yeah.
And so he was just like, oh, okay, well, if you need me, I'll do it. But I just think that even if they get beaten 3-0, I don't see any pressure at all coming from Queensland. He's done so much for the state that I just... And also, it's 2 series for 2 series, really.
Yeah,
so it's kind of like, you know, it's Origin. It's hard to win.
It is very hard.
You know, the idea that, like, this 8 in a row has just blinded everyone to, like, think that, okay, if you have a winning percentage of 50% as an Origin coach, that's a bad thing. That's the norm. That's what is normal. Like, Gus Gould, I think, is at 55 or 60%.
Yep.
It's not normal.
Even winning just in general, like in rugby league, like the Penrith Panthers and the Melbourne Storm teams are the outliers because they were so dominant for so long.
Yep.
Everyone else lives between, like, for the most part, if you play enough games, you live between like 40 to 60.
That's what I'm saying.
Everyone lives there.
And it's Origin.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so I just think the idea that he'd be under pressure, I'd be, you know, now, didn't Walsh play because of Ponga? We just got a text. No, remember, Walsh was selected before Ponga ruled himself out.
Yes. And
so there was this idea with the head knocks or whatever. Walsh got selected, but then Ponga said, I'm ruling myself out for the rest of the season.
Yep. Billy called Kalen, informed him that he was going with Walshy, and then after sort of the indecision around the head knocks as well at that time, he decided that he was going to sit out the entire series.
The entire series, yep. Anyway, we're going to head to a break. After the break, plenty more to talk about, including who's got suspended, who hasn't got suspended, some big calls on the weekend. We also got some audio from Nathan Cleary being surprised on the DCE dropping. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Captain's Run, and we are here for Chemist Warehouse. Get discounted prescriptions, save more money at Chemist Warehouse, and also head to bloke.shop. Maroon and blue jumpers now available at www.bloke.shop. Do not miss out. They are moving fast, and also they're very, very high quality, and you will not be disappointed if you grab some. Thoughts, mate, on Munster being named captain, and also just after that we'll get to Cleary's surprised that DC's dropping.
Yeah, I'm expecting a response from Money in this game. I know he was disappointed with the performance from everyone, including himself. I had a chat to him after game 1, and he highlighted that he wants to get his running game going straight away in game 2. So I'm expecting that from him. It just gives him a little added incentive, not like he needed it, but yeah, I think it'll get him firing. And with so many huge decisions across the board, with not only Daly not playing, but Munster captain, dropping, putting Paddy and Jeremiah to the bench, I'm expecting the Queensland team to be fired up off the back of pretty much all 4 of them.
Yep, absolutely. Alrighty, we got some audio from Cleario on Cleario. Oh my God, we got some Cleario about DCE being dropped.
Maybe a little bit. I think he's been an outstanding Origin player for such a long time, and obviously he was the captain too. So, a little bit surprised, but yeah, I can understand it as well. Haven't thought too much about it, but as I said, I think DC's been a great player, not only at NRL but obviously Origin level for a very long time, and there's no knocking him for that.
Now, I would love to get your thoughts. How did you think Cleary played in game 1? Because
okay.
I thought he was pretty good, but there are some people that thought he was terrible.
No, this is the problem with Nathan, and what the problem has been. Even go back to the 2021 series. Is that the Turbo?
Killed it. Record win.
And Latrell.
Yep.
They were so dominant, those 2 players, and then Teddy pushing through the middle off just all the chaos that they were creating. He just really wasn't required. And I don't think he's even necessarily required to have the heroics like he's done in specifically the 2023 grand final. I think New South Wales are better across the board. But
isn't that unfair on Cleary that
it will be.
The goalpost just always moves. When they lose, it's all the 7's fault. When they win, it wasn't him. It was everyone else.
For sure I do. Yeah. And he could leave this series and comfortably win a series, and be the 4th or 5th best player in the series. I can really see that happening because I just think there are other guys. I think the power game from the outside backs was so noticeable. And then obviously Payne Haas got player of the match through the middle. It's good to see. I know Nathan and DCE got a good relationship from their time in the World Cup together.
Yep.
Because you got to remember that was when Daly, properly, officially lost his 7 jersey to Nath a couple of years ago. So you can see that there was some sympathy at least there from Nathan. I know they got DCE coming back from that camp, they really got along with each other and talked footy. So despite the rivalry with New South Wales and Queensland, you could see that he was at least sympathetic for Ches. But he won't be showing any of that on next Wednesday night. He's going to be going after it. And, I don't know. I don't think he even has to have a man of the match performance.
But this is what I don't get. This is any other 7 that ran for 136 metres and had 10 tackle breaks, 22 tackles, 0 misses, 3 offloads, and he kicked for 455 metres. Any other 7 has those stats. You're going, mate, that's a good game. And look, disregard the kicking. Yep, his kicking was crap. We all agree conversions were crap. Any other 7 has those numbers. You go, that's a good game of footy.
It's the same as Brian Toto on the other side, opposite to Zach Lomax. We're all talking about Zach Lomax, but Brian Toto's been putting up the numbers that he's been putting up. And Isaiah Yeo through the middle. You become numb to how good they are, and because they're so good, it can be at a detriment. And you're right, he probably won't get the credit.
10 tackle breaks and 3 offloads.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
And Money highlighted that too, speaking about how Nathan just got himself in the game. Even Mitch was really good. They're so creative, but they went after the game. After the physicality of the game,
they straightened everything up.
Yeah,
Yo straightened everything up.
Nathan, there was a time where instead of getting out the back of the back rower, Nathan got the ball at first receiver and played on the inside to Mitch Moses like he was a fullback.
Yeah,
and Mitchie just got whacked through the middle.
Yeah,
but their intent was evident to begin with, right from the start of the game.
Yeah. So as I said, I just think it's any other name that has 10 tackle breaks, 3 offloads, and also the stat that kind of gets lost in the noise there is the fact that he had 22 tackles and 0 misses in Origin, and compared to Moses, who I thought was good, but 15 tackles, 4 misses. Again, I just feel like Cleary, unless he goes out there and 2 try assists, and just everything is around him.
Yep.
He's just not going to get the credit he deserves.
It was the last time he's had a man of the match performance was in Perth, right?
Yep.
Was that 2022? 2023?
Maybe 2023, where they beat them by like 40 in Perth or something
That's
like that.
right. And then Queensland come back and won the series with the Benny Hunt charge down. So,
I'd just love to get your thoughts on it.
it's a good field for him. Like, if he, I don't know, like there are players that, whether it be scoring or just playing well, or teams you play against, sometimes you just get a good feel for a setup. So maybe he brains them in game 2.
Now, we've also got some audio on Laurie Daly on clearing the air with Terrell May.
I'd never met Terrell before, but I found him to be a really good fella. Had a cuppa with him. Won't go into detail about what we spoke about, but no, he was good as gold. It was good to clear the air. No hard feelings from my end, no hard feelings from his end. But he knows that he's just got to keep playing well, and his opportunity will come at some point.
There you go, Daly. I love to hear that. I think that they have made the best of a bad situation. And I think that, and I've been pretty critical of the Blues not handling their fringe players very well over the last few years. I love the fact that they've sat down, egos a little bit aside. It could have got a bit testy in the media, like they could have bit back at some stuff. I love the fact they've sat down, he's had a chat. I think him saying, mate, great bloke, love him, blah, 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 is really good PR as well.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I think it's really good that Daly's done it. And I'll tell you what, I know, look, winning covers everything, so it's very easy for me to say this, but doesn't Daly just look so much more assured of himself this time around? Understandably so. You're not going up against Cam Smith and Billy Slater. But he does look so much, you know what? This is how I'm going to do things, and he's just backing himself in.
Yeah, Laurie's a legend. Like, I've had a little bit to do with Laurie over the years as well. He's just such a good human. I don't necessarily think, and I've said this all along, I don't think the Terrell May decision is fully his. There's a selection process and all that. I find it funny that just due to just pure public pressure and media scrutiny, that a player that's never played before, never played Origin, you had to. They felt the need to go and have a coffee with them. I don't think I've ever heard of that before.
But could it be evidence of them going, you know what, we probably didn't handle this right? Could also be that.
Maybe.
Listening into the media going, like there was a lot of pressure. And look, you could be right. It could be purely pressure. But maybe they go, you know what, we probably didn't handle that the best.
Yeah, okay.
It could be that option. They genuinely could have sat back and gone, you know what, we probably should just, he was going really well. Just, you don't believe me? You don't seem convinced?
No, I just, regardless of, whatever their reasons, I just find it strange. A guy who's never played Origin before, and then you make, for whatever reason, whatever it may be, to go out of your way in between games 1 and 2 to sit down and have a coffee with a player that's never played Origin.
Yep.
I don't know. It's always like, it's just felt a little bit yuck and weird the whole time.
Really? Yeah, see, I like it. I think that this should be the way forward. Like, I'm not a big believer of, mate, you haven't played Origin before, so, you don't deserve this, I don't deserve that. If I was ever an Origin coach, I would always have a wider squad that I'm talking to all the time.
100%, Kepi. Yeah. Not in between game 1 and 2. You've just won. But game if that's done in March or April, hey mate, like you're in our, you might be a part of the squad. Yep. I've got you just on the outer. We've got some players in front of you. So be it. Like I think it's because of the public pressure and all the blowback from it.
I like to be a glass half full guy. I reckon it is because of public pressure, but I reckon that they went, you know what? Like, we've got this young front rower that's a gun.
Yeah. We
probably should have been in communication at the very least before this. And it's them maybe admitting tacitly that they did it. But I definitely see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Also, big bombshell, obviously, Ezra Mann being included in the Queensland side. I spoke about this on my Monday podcast. I didn't think it was needed. I think that 2 games back, everyone knows Ezra Mann's talent on the footy field. He's unbelievable. So talent-wise, yes, he should be around the squad. With everything going on, yes, he's playing back in the NRL, but I think the Queensland, Australian and Tongan and Samoan, these jerseys are a step above that when it comes to the earning of it, the privilege of it. And I just felt like it's not good for Ezra. It's not good for Queensland. It's just not a good look, in my opinion. I would have let him play first grade for the next 12 months. Let him earn the trust back of everyone. Let him show all the stuff that he's doing in the community and everything, and then potentially consider him next year. What do you reckon?
One of your points there, I think it was the second point. I don't think it's good for Ezra.
It's not.
I very rarely talk about off-field stuff, like whether it's podcasts or even whatever shows we do on SEN, because I know I'm always for second chances and all that.
For sure.
But like, over time and being around people and being around players that I played with that, sort of stuffed up, and it didn't really feel like it properly sunk in because, they might have been given chances because they were super talented.
Right back where they're at.
Right back,
where they're at.
yeah. You end up falling potentially back into the, the same things that you're doing wrong because, I'm with you, mate. Like I felt like it would have been great for Ezra the person to earn it back, earn back the trust of everyone at the Broncos first and foremost, have a cracking season, and then be in contention for Queensland next year.
Yeah, and just give people time to sit on what's happened and go, okay, it's been 12 months now. He's doing all this stuff in the community. He's playing footy again. Now it's, I think most reasonable people would go, look, I don't want the guy gone forever. Like I want
100%.
I want the guy to serve his, yes, it was his punishment a bit, not a bit. It was quite a lot of people think it was really like small compared to what he should have got. And so I think a lot of people, if they say, okay, well, he doesn't give himself that punishment, but if he goes back, he does the right thing, in 12 months' time, people go, well, how long are we going to hold this against him? At what point do we give him a fair opportunity to succeed in everything that he wants to succeed in? And so I think, as I said, you can hold two things to be true. One thing is I don't think he should have been selected, but that doesn't mean that in the long run I don't want Ezra Mann to be the best version of himself, and I don't want him to come back and be. I just don't know if this is the right way to go about it.
100%, mate. Yeah. Like, and you nail on it there. Honestly, the punishment from both the NRL and Broncos should have been at least a minimum of a little bit longer. I always said that should have been, the starting point should have been around the 12 weeks, and then we figure out, where that goes from there. And then, like I said, I think it would serve him well to just concentrate. They could go on a bit of a run too at the Broncos. So
absolutely.
He comes back, he repays the faith in the Broncos and all what they've done to him. Not to say he's not doing that, but just have a really good origin period. And then be right back in contention for the squad next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
26.
All right, going to head to a break. We'll see you on the other side. Welcome back to the Captain's Run. Got a text here from the Shire Bronco. I don't think what Ezra did was right. He should have received a larger punishment, but he didn't get that. It was light, but he did his time. How long does he have to be punished by the NRL community? Well, I think that you could argue that if he wasn't playing NRL right now, but he's back. He's playing NRL. It's about that next step of earning the privilege of playing for your state. I think that, it would be fair to say, okay, baby steps. You get back into the NRL, and then you play for a while, you earn your stripes, you earn the trust back there of the community, and then you get the next privilege, which is Queensland. And so that's what I think. I think that I agree with you in the idea of he shouldn't be punished forever. At some point, you have to give a guy a fair opportunity at redemption.
Yep.
So I understand that thought process, but he is back in the NRL, and with the Queensland thing, that is literally the pinnacle. It's a tip.
I think most sensible people are on the same page.
Yeah, for sure.
We understand what we're getting at, and you're always going to get the outliers of people just so anti Ezra Mann.
Never give him another chance ever again.
And then some people are just way too sympathetic. Most people live in
reasonable area.
Yeah, reasonable.
Absolutely. Okay, we had some huge news in regards to thoughts about. So the refs have come out and they've basically said that some of those calls on the weekend that were correct. With the Tigers, Luai tackling the ball player as he kicked it. The refs have come out and said, nope, that was a correct call. What are your thoughts about some of the calls on the weekend, including the kick-out one where he basically got 10 in the bin for touching the leg of Moses?
Yeah, look, Moses played into it. I believe it was the right ruling. I'm happy with a Viliami kick-out to get 10 because it's just it's a dangerous area, and it's the leg, and it's sort of extended. We've seen the worst case scenario of that only recently as well. So did Moses play into it? Yes. Should Viliami kick out been better with his charge down and not getting around that area? Yeah, that's my opinion on it. So I think 10 was sufficient. I'd hate to see him get suspended. I know he hasn't been suspended, so I'm happy with that. And I hated the ruling on Jerome Luai on the weekend. I thought he hit him clean. He hit him at the right time, and I thought the Tigers were hard done by, and I hate the, explanation and doubling down from the NRL on it.
I can't believe that they said, there's been plenty of examples that being a penalty. I can show you plenty of examples where the ref lets it go.
Yeah.
So I don't understand that. Like, you trying to fall back on, no, we always give that a penalty. It's like, no, you don't. There's been plenty of times where you haven't given it a penalty.
I know that, when teams are down the bottom and they seem to get the rough end of it.
Oh, it's actually, they've done studies on it.
So 2 weeks ago, the Tigers were playing same player. Jerome Luai, Gerard Sutton is the referee. mandatory. There were 3-6 against. You got to go.
Yep.
I watched it in the Bulldogs Parramatta game. Same ref, 3 in the exact same, and he didn't send anyone. It's like,
mate, you know what's crazy? The same thing happened to me. So Ashley Klein, where he gave a penalty in Origin about hands on the face. I was watching him on the weekend. He was literally looking at hands on face in a club's game in the middle of the game, not even the first
and a
set,
club footy.
in club footy, and he let it go.
Yeah.
And
look, it's tough what they do too, Campy. I do sympathise,
but
sometimes you get yourself in trouble. Like I was blown away, even though I agreed that Jerome Luai should have been sent for 10 because there was multiple.
I like it. I like it, but just be consistent.
And no, it was the wording from Jared Sutton because he goes,
mandatory.
mate, I can't do anything about it. Mandatory. And Jerome's looking at him kind of confused and wanted to argue, but he sort of checked Jerome and he didn't know what to say, so he just ended up walking off. And then I'm calling the game against the Bulldogs and Parramatta Eels. Jared Sutton, there was 3, maybe 4 in the one sort of sequence. And I'm like...
Maybe their argument is it was the same one 3 times, the exact same one. I don't know. And if you go offside, hand on the ball, and head, I don't know, head
they'll find a way. They'll find a way, Kempy.
In regards to the kick-out one, I agree it was the wrong thing. I thought 10 in the bin was too harsh.
Okay.
I thought a penalty was sufficient in the deterrent of it. And I think that video refs need to be able to identify when a player is diving. Yeah. And I think that if you've got a better understanding of the game, you would have seen, mate, he is milking that for all of his life.
100% he was. He's so good at it.
He's so good at it. Yeah. Look, I don't blame Mitch. If you're going to do it in the rules, but that's the problem is we reward it. But look, am I going to die on this hill? No, I'm not going to die on the hill, but I didn't think it was 10 in the bin. Yep. But I understand I do understand where they're coming from. I really do.
Mitch's ability to play into a rule mid-action is some of the best there is in the competition. So to be able to see Viliami Kikau getting close and just extend it and hold a little bit. There was a time when he played the Dolphins about 3 or 4 weeks ago where he put a kick in, knew he wasn't going to get there. I reckon in the same moment seen Hammer in cover, so he made a play into Tom Gilbert.
And did he get it or they
no,
didn't get
and
it to
he
him?
challenged it.
Yeah.
And
he didn't get it.
Yeah, he didn't get it, but it was just like, it's elite footy IQ. Like, drew in the action. He's the best at it.
Okay. He absolutely is. Absolutely is. Anyway, Knights fans start a petition to re-sign a star. So this thoughts, Gagai.
I thought that was going the other way.
Oh, okay.
I thought that was about the Adam O'Brien stuff.
Oh, we'll get to that. Don't worry. So the reports are that they don't want to sign Gagai on $400,000.
Yeah. How old is Gags? He's been killing it. He's been playing well. He's been their best player.
400?
He's been their best player the last couple of weeks too.
Look, I know he's older.
Yeah.
But he's 34 years old. I know he's older. But 400, you could keep in reserve grade as a backup outside back at $400K on this current salary cap.
Well, they've got Jackson Hastings on reportedly 7 to 8, isn't it?
What?
And he's not playing. Gags, and then also, I love that. So the Newcastle fans, have they signed a petition to get it done? Have they? Is that what the chat is? Like the fan base want him re-signed? Because if it is, it shows he's been a great servant. Mace was talking about it like during their tough years as well. And he was always a standout player for him. Just a great guy, great leadership, been through it, a whole heap nice and early in his career too, on the other side of it. So, yeah, I think Gags deserves 1 more year at least.
Surely. All right, after the break, we're going to go to a text here first, and then we'll go to a break, and we're going to talk about the Adam O'Brien thing. Got a text here. Queensland, so on your thinking, if your son or nephew was charged with offences that got him in jail, you would think he should go through a series of halfway houses before he comes home, even though he served his punishment. Well, I don't think Ezra's obviously not in jail, but if it was my son, I wouldn't expect him to get selected for Queensland. No, I would be saying to my son, you should be incredibly grateful you only got 8 weeks. Put your head down, work hard, earn the trust of back of. It's a privilege to play for your state. I'd absolutely be saying the same thing if it was my son, mate. In regards to like jail and halfway houses, if he was in jail and he served his sentence, then he served like. There's a difference between serving your sentence and then be giving an honour or a privilege. And it's an honour or a privilege to play for Queensland. So, yeah, if it was my son, I'd be doing the exact same thing. Quickly, before we go to break.
You're good to some text. That doesn't even deserve a response.
Okay, fair enough. All righty, we're going to head to a break. After the break, Adam O'Brien, first he comes out and he says Newcastle fans that were booing don't know footy, but then he apologised the next day. We're going to get into that. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Captain's Run. Don't forget to head to www.bloke.shop. Grab yourself a bloke jumper. They are going fast. They're pretty much, I think it's like 10 to 15% left at www.bloke.shop. Maroon and blue colours. Once they're gone, we are not doing them again, so make sure to get on and grab them. We've also got hats as well for $34.99, maroon and blue, on bloke.shop. Okay, Adam O'Brien, you know what he said. Everyone listening, they know what he said. You also know he came out and apologised. Scope, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, initially my thoughts were when because I watched it straight after the game
So
too, because I love presses and I love
you
watching.
get so much out of presses.
So good, and specific like there are a couple that I really love, and Adam O'Brien's one of my favourites.
Oh, bro. Mate.
At first I was like, I understand what he was trying to say. He's obviously come out and apologised about it. Thought he completely got it wrong, but yeah, it's He's under the pump heavy at the moment.
I
thought you were about to say before because I was trying to check the notes.
Petition to get him sacked.
Petition to get him sacked.
Yeah.
That's where I thought you were going with it.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
I've missed that story.
Mate, I know he apologised.
Yeah.
But the way I see it is this has been leading up to this. Like last week, he was complaining about Kalen Ponga and the draw and the idea that they got beaten by the draw. And it was vague, though, whether he meant beaten by the draw or beaten by the draw that Kalen couldn't play, whatever. In the week before, they beaten a decimated Penrith side due to Origin. The week before that, he had the most unenergetic presser I've ever seen in my life. So it's been leading up to this. Yeah. And I know he's apologised, so I don't want to put the boot in too hard. But, mate, if you're getting paid $600,000 to $800,000 a year, it's your job to handle questions like that.
You've got to get it right.
You've
got to be so much more. Right. He even said he wasn't prepared. He said that the next day.
But even if you're not.
You can't not be prepared. That used to be my criticism about other coaches as well. I used to say that about, as much as we love the character of Kevy and how entertaining he can be on Fox, sometimes some of the responses from him was like, that's just not the response. Yeah. So you've got to know. And it's the part of coaching, like if you are a young... just say you have ambitions to be a coach.
It's half the battle.
Mate, you've got to learn how to play the media. And in particular, pressers after losses. Everyone wants to get into a presser after you won. Yep. Everyone wants to do an interview with Fox and Matty after you've won a game on Thursday and Sunday night. Yeah. No one wants to do it when you've lost 3 in a row. Yeah. So you got to figure out, like, all right, what is going to be said. And by the way, they won. I know. That's the craziest thing.
I know.
The guy who got the best out of it was Siebes.
I know.
He had a 16-point lead at half time, got run down.
No one's talking about it.
No one's talking about Siebes.
He probably texted him and said, thanks, Adam. I appreciate it, mate.
Christmas presents for AOB from Siebes this year for sure.
Yeah, and so the worry I have is this. And I don't know if this is true. This is speculation. Speculation means I've got no evidence for this. But if he didn't have this golden parachute of $2 million getting reported, has he already checked out? Has Adam O'Brien already said, listen, I'm gone anyway. So this is why these presses are so bad. I just don't know whether he would have said that if he didn't already think he was a little bit on the way out. Maybe subconsciously or whatever. Yeah. Again,
maybe subconsciously. I think, everyone's got that competitive edge in them where they're like, no one wants to get sacked regardless of what could be on the other on the other side of it. So,
but just looking at the energy he's had,
that was my initial thought. I was watching it going, he wants to get sacked.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And then it went on, and he tried to explain a little bit more, and then he obviously apologised, and I was like,
but is the position untenable now? Because Knights fans are not going to forgive him.
No way, they're not. And he talked about earning their trust back. I don't know. They've got to go undefeated throughout. They can't lose again this year, or be losing at half time. So I seen someone wrote a comment. Oh, actually, someone wrote a comment when we were talking about it on Friday and said it's the best halftime speech. The crowd booing that Newcastle have had this year.
And also Newcastle, literally the most loyal fans in the game.
Literally,
not even a joke.
And only just recently removed from a really tough period for the club.
When it was like 20,000 people turning up to Wooden Spoon seasons. Anyway, we'll head to a break. Hopefully he can bounce back, Adam O'Brien. We'll see you on the other side. Welcome back to the Captain's Run. Our second hour done and dusted. Scope joined us. All been done. Just a quick text regarding Gagai. Queensland player of the series, also not signing at $400K, which is below NRL average. Seems a bit silly, but Newcastle have only themselves to blame for being in the position, given they have paid well overs for Dylan Brown. But, I mean, even with that, they would have money in the cap to re-sign him for $400K.
That's why it makes more sense to sign Gags at that price, because you can't go and get an elite. Well, the best centres would probably be on about 6 or 7, right?
Yeah.
So you get a proven winner and a representative player at a really good price. So it makes even more sense with the Dylan Brown.
100%. Like, what are you going to play? A young bloke for 400K that you don't know how he's going to go? Alrighty. Going to head to a break. Got another hour ahead. Welcome back to the Captain's Run. A massive thank you to Scope for joining us. Make sure to give his podcast a follow, Levels Podcast. Fantastic podcast with Willie Mason. Welcome to the Captain's Run. We're here for Chemist Warehouse. Get discounted prescriptions and save more money at Chemist Warehouse. And also, don't forget bloke.shop. Head to bloke.shop. So www.bloke.shop. Grab your bloke jumper. We've got a maroon jumper. We've got a blue jumper. High quality. Never been done before. And also this design, once it's gone, we're not doing it again. We've also got bloke maroon hats, blue and maroon. So get them at www.bloke.shop. Give us a text 0457 736 736. But joining the Captain's Run this afternoon, we've got Cowboys winger Robert Derby. How you going, brother?
Yeah, pretty good. Just got a bit of a cold at the moment, but getting past that now.
Oh well, hopefully you're right for the weekend. You're going to be sweet. When did you get the cold?
Oh, I reckon I would have got it Sunday, and then didn't get a chance to train yesterday. But I'm going to train the Savo, and then I think Captain's Run, and then we play. So
hopefully you'll be right, mate. Hopefully. Mate,
yeah.
You're hosting the Dolphins on Saturday night. Dolphins fresh off a big win over the Dragons. What has preparations been this week getting ready for them?
Oh, I think for us it's just because obviously we got all our Origin boys away, so we're just trying to get reps in with our new combinations and that. And I think more so just I know Katoa plays a really steady game, and he draws in the defense a lot. So I think we're just targeting sort of around him and just making sure we're all on the same page.
And mate, yourself, a few weeks ago, you had a game that, it could either make you or break you, and it was a tough game, but you hung in there. You ended up scoring a try towards the end. What do you reckon you learnt the most from the game where it was just everything just didn't go right for you?
It's hard to say because I guess in the moment you kind of you try literally your hardest just not to beat yourself up, and you get one thing wrong, and then I think I just kept stringing them along areas and just kept. I think that gave the opposition something to they seen I was kind of rattled, and they just kept kicking to me. But I think getting that break at halftime really helped, where Toddy just sort of challenged me to just go back out and flush it, and I think having the right boys around you. Everyone just kept saying, "Oh, don't worry, just flush it next one." And I think for me, getting my hands on the ball and just getting after it again and just finding the next play, I think that helped me heaps. But no, I think I'm looking to flush that game and forget about it. But I think it just happens. But
man, sometimes it's just those games you can really use them as anytime you feel like your concentration's like drifting a little bit, it just focuses you back in and go, no, I remember. A few weeks ago, and I know all the things I need to do to make sure I'm locked in. Because since then, you've been great, mate.
Yeah. No, I think that's a big thing as well. Just trying to look back and be like, oh, I'm not going as bad as that. I'm sweet, and like what you said.
Mate, Taulagi returns on the opposite wing. How important is he for you for the Cowboys?
Oh, I think he's massive for us. Just the way he runs the ball up, gets us out of our end, and then. Defensively, obviously, he's one of the best defensive wingers in the comp, and he's just always been the energy for us in the team. He's one of the big drivers for that, and he's also one of our rep players, so he's got a lot of game confidence behind him. So, he's huge for us.
And mate, yourself, what do you reckon? This is your debut year, is it, or at least where you've got the most games together?
Yeah.
And for yourself, like heading, you're in first grade now, and you've got the first few games out under your belt. What do you reckon is the next kind of step for you? Is the main goal just to get as many games as possible? Is there certain areas in your game you're going to try and focus on to improve?
Well, for me, obviously, just consistency at the moment, and I guess staying on the park because, I debuted in 23, and then I've just had a lot of setbacks, injuries, and I think I forgot who told me I know it's thing, but I think Nene McDonald.
Oh no way, the big fella.
He sort of told me that kind of as a joke and that, but seriously. He said, he gave me a quote, and I think it was like, availability is the best ability. So I think just putting myself in that position to sort of get an opportunity and try to keep my spot's been good for me this year. And I think I'm just hoping to string some consistent performances for the rest of this year. I think that's the main thing for me, and then backing up, hopefully playing for PNG and come back and having another big pre-season. It's kind of crazy. Like, obviously, when you're a North Queensland kid and from Queensland, obviously you always dream of being on that big stage. Obviously Queensland, and I don't know how far that would be away from me, but no, that's like a dream for me. But I guess at the moment just playing consistent footy. Mate,
absolutely. Well, you look at Rob Toyer. He's similar boat, mate. He had a few injuries, early in his career, and all of a sudden he's playing for Queensland. It's not really as far, especially as a bloke as talented as yourself. It's not as far as you could as you actually think when you really look at a guy like Toyer and some other guys that have debuted pretty young.
Yeah. You go. Sorry.
Oh, that's all good. I was just going to say, you re-signed till 2028. Surely, I mean, that's got to be super, super exciting.
Yeah, I think we're starting to recruit some really good talent for the next few years coming. I know we've got Maya signed till 27. We've got our new centres, Butsy and Bilyami just signed on till 2027, and I think we're just trying to just build more chemistry, and that would be hectic just to see the next few years how they go. And obviously Jackson Purdue, who's freaking killing it at the moment, and it'll be mad to see how everyone develops together as a team.
Mate, absolutely. Now, the Cowboys celebrated their 30th anniversary on the weekend just past, showing a huge gala honouring players of the past and unveiling the Cowboys' 30-year team. The big fella, Dalmalolo, returns this weekend. He was named at lock in the team. What's it like having the big fella around?
Oh, he's been a really big influential player on, I think, a lot of us boys, younger boys. He always gets around us, and he definitely looks after us, and always keen for a chat and go for coffees and that while we're in the club. He's always been I guess, huge part of the North Queensland Cowboys since he's debuted, obviously, in 2010, and it's pretty mad that he's been one of the players in the team of the 30 years. And then I think there'll be even more, I guess, motivation for him this weekend coming back and killing it. But 30 years was insane. I've never seen like a celebration like it. We got to be in the middle of the field and had fireworks and a bunch of things, and I think they had a lot of videos and photos put up which showed that. But it was insane.
Mate, I mean, what a team as well. The best, like him at lock, jeez, and you got obviously JT there. Fair side, mate. Thanks so much for joining us, bro. Really appreciate it, and good luck this weekend.
No, you're right. Cheers. Thank you.
There he is. He's absolute flyer. Super, super quick, Rob Darby. Super, super quick, and a lot of talent. Killed it in Queensland Cup for quite a while, and now he's got his opportunity. I think it's going to be hard for him to lose that jersey. The Cowboys host the Dolphins this Saturday at Queensland Country Bank Stadium, 7:35 kickoff, 7:35 p.m. kickoff. After a break, let's have a look at some of the other games. Welcome back to the Captain's Run. Don't forget, Bloke jumpers now available at bloke.shop. Head to www.bloke.shop. Grab your bloke jumper today. We've got maroon, we've got blue, and we've got maroon and blue hats as well. Okay, Sharkies v. the Dragons. An absolutely huge clash. My God. Both teams absolutely desperate for a big win. I mean, the Sharkies are desperate for a bounce back, but so are the Dragons. Aren't the Dragons such an interesting side? 1 week I'm looking at them going, you know what? It's been a pretty good year. They've blooded a bunch of young guys and especially young forwards. And is it the strongest side on paper? Maybe not, but at the same time, they've got good systems in place. They've got really good set plays. Gutho's working his backside off. Little has been good. And then other times they have these huge losses where you go, my God, it's complete panic station. So they are desperate for a bounce back win. Sharkies, on the other hand, I mean, they have truly, their last two games have gone from they are flying to it's a disaster, which is just, it shows you how crazy this competition is this year. That the Sharkies, if you had asked the Sharkies 2 rounds ago or 3 rounds ago because of the bye, you would have said, mate, they're one of the informed teams of the competition. They just went down to Melbourne and done them. You ask about the Sharkies 2 weeks later, you go, oh, mate, they just got towed up by a Roosters side that was missing all their players. And then the Warriors just went over there without Barnett and towed them up as well. What do you reckon, mate? What are your thoughts on this?
As a Sharkies fan, was riding high after that Melbourne Storm victory. And then last week against Warriors, there was signs. We looked okay. But then, obviously just got overrun. KL Hero out for a while now. That pec injury.
Huge out.
That pec injury is going to rule him out for a while. I think Fitzy said it might be a surgery as well. Ronaldo's back, which is great. But no, look, I'm excited to see the potential of a return of Toby Rudolph.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen any of him this year, really. And so he'll be named as a reserve, so as he comes back from that syndesmosis.
Yep.
On the Dragons as well, they've just announced the re-signing of Jacob Little.
Huge.
So he's been great. Huge off the bench.
Been so good. So I love that as well. And it looks like they're probably going to lean into him long term because he's been easily in career best form. He's been one of their best players.
Absolutely.
He really has. It's going to be interesting to see, does he get more minutes now that he's re-signed that contract? Because the one thing, and look, it's hard to be, whenever a player comes on and has heaps of impact, you go, oh, they need to get more minutes. And I'm of that mind with Little. I'm always like, mate, they need more minutes. But then I'm like, but is he playing so well because he's just got less minutes? Is it working the way Flanagan wants it to work? I'm not sure. I guess we'll see. But yeah, this game, it is an absolute bell ringer of a game. Probably going to be match of the round. Dangerous game for the Sharks because if they go down to the Dragons, all of a sudden you've lost to an understrength Roosters side. And when I say understrength, I don't mean a little bit. I mean like decimated. A Warriors side that's just towed you up. And then a Dragons side that got beaten by 50 the week before. So it is truly, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a must-win game for the Sharkies, but from a perspective of do you want to be a top 4 side, I would say it's a must-win. You don't want to disconnect too far from that top 4, especially when the Raiders and the Warriors are travelling so well at the moment. Doesn't look like they're going to drop form anytime soon. So really, really important. If they want to be premiership heavyweights, like they've got to continue. They've got to get back on the horse. The Sharkies.
The thing that scares me as a Sharks fan, we're sitting on 16 points in 5th. If you look at the table, from 6th to 12th is only separated by 2 points.
It's insane.
So the fact that with a couple more results, like the Roosters or the Warriors results not going our way, the fact that we could be sitting 12th or 13th is, definitely something that worries me quite a bit.
One thing in your favour is you've actually got 7 wins. So you're only 1 win behind the Storm. And that does help to a degree. And I know when buys come in and all that, it's just all confusing. But you've got 7 wins compared to 6 and 5, the guys below you. So that's a positive. But yeah, it's the difference is, the problem is though, is Warriors have 10 wins. The Raiders have 11 wins. And the Dogs have 10 wins as well. So like that top 3, that's going to be super hard to catch.
Big time. With Raiders with no buys yet as well.
Because basically 5th is sitting on 16 points. And then the top 3 is sitting on 22, 22, and 24. And so, like, that is a lifetime. You basically need the Warriors, Raiders, and Dogs to go on a, disaster run to even get close to them.
That Warriors loss now turns into like a 4-point loss.
Pretty much.
Doesn't it?
Pretty much. So that's why I say, like, from a perspective of being in the 8, it's not a do-or-die win. From the perspective of if you want to be a premiership heavyweight, it almost is a do-or-die win for you. It really is. And, the Storm, yes, you are close to the Storm. I think they've had one more bye than you guys. But the problem is we know the Storm will most likely build into the season. You know that they're going to be red hot heading into finals, or at the very least we assume. So huge game. Dragons as well. Okay, now to the next game. Next game after that is the Titans versus Seagulls. I mean, what more is there to say about the Titans? Like, I cannot believe Des Hasler went to this roster. It's his second year as coach, and they look worse than they did before he arrived. How is that even possible? It makes no sense.
It doesn't make any. There's been no consistency in, I guess, the people driving them as well, which, they're chopping change. They've had a bunch of injuries. Verrills was out, or still out. I think he's back this week, possibly as a reserve. They brought in Carter Gordon as well. Like, that hasn't panned out at all.
No.
So you can't get consistency when you can't get the same people on the field every week.
Yeah, it's just, but the problem is that, like, they still have a relatively good roster to be able to. I just cannot believe that Des Hasler, one of the great coaches, comes in and, he took Manly from 15th all the way into like a prelim final, I think, or at the very least a top-tier side. And then he goes to the Titans and just for some reason they got worse. It's crazy. I know they try to say that the playing group and Desi are all on board, but I just struggle to believe that when they're sitting where they're sitting right now. Like how can you genuinely believe that the Titans playing group is fully on board Desi Hasler's way of life when they're currently sitting last on the ladder?
When you've got someone like Hasler who is so used to winning as well, I feel like he'd be hating life. And not getting, whether or not they're not buying into what he's throwing out.
Yep.
Or it's just not, maybe they are buying into what he's throwing out.
It's not working.
It's just not working.
Like, you look at, for example, like the Eels, they're in the middle of the depths of a rebuild, and they're still going better than... and they were missing Moses for a lot of the start of the year, so I don't know what else to say with the Titans. In regards to Manly, Mike, again, go out, dominate the Broncos, and look, that's not as big a scalp as a lot of people think. The Broncos aren't going that well, but they do. They go out, they dominate the Broncos. Then they go and play... Knights, and in the first half they look, oh my god, like the Knights, it's a disaster. They towel them up. They come out in the second half and it's like a different team ran out. It's like literally like a different it's just bizarre.
Do you think the whole chatter around DCE's club future, do you think obviously it has played an impact on him from the Maroons, but do you think we're seeing it at the Sea Eagles as well?
Well, I mean, maybe, but like they've been inconsistent for multiple years now. This isn't the first year where, like even last year, they'd go down and they'd like beat the Melbourne Storm and then they'd lose to a bottom four side. And you'd just be like, what the hell is going on here?
I guess if we're talking about the Titans not having the same people in every week, that's Manly. Pretty much it. It's Turbo's in 1 week, he's out the next.
Their forward pack's been decimated. So like they have had a lot of injuries, but I'm almost like, most teams have had to have that as well, though. So it's like, at what point do you go, you look at all the best teams. The one thing the best teams have is not necessarily no injuries. It has the next man up mentality. That's really the difference. Like, every team, top-tier team, hasn't been, aside from Penrith. Penrith went through this golden run where they had injuries, but they managed to get their full-strength side onto the field for most of the time during that four-peat period. But like this year, Melbourne Storm have had quite a lot of injuries. Not as many as others, but the Bulldogs have been decimated by injuries at times. Raiders definitely, Warriors definitely. And so, yeah, it's a tough one. Look, I'm going to go Manly here. I reckon it's probably going to be a high-scoring affair, though. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. I guess we'll see, though. Now, on to the Knights v. the Roosters. The Roosters, what a bizarre team the Roosters are, because... when they're on, they are a top four side. And I honestly, Roosters, when they're on, I would give them a 50-50 chance against any side in the competition. I mean, you've just got to go back to the Bulldogs, where they had the Bulldogs on the ropes until the last 10 minutes or whatever it was. And yet the funny thing is the Roosters sit in 10th place. And yeah, I understand it's a very tight competition, but they're still outside the 8 right now. And it's just like, there's so many games for the Roosters, if they looked back in that last 20 minutes, just finish the game out, they'd be easy in the top 8. So it just really depends what Roosters side turns up. The one that blows teams off the park with some of the best juniors in the comp, or the side that, can win the first 60 minutes, but just for some reason can't hold onto the ball for the last 20. In regards to Knights, look, it's just been a strange week. They actually won the game last week, but with all the negative news around it, it feels like they lost the game. What do you reckon?
Big time. And I think with the Roosters, if we see the team that knocked off the Sharkies with 5 Origin players missing, or that team that showed up on Anzac Day, was it obviously against the Dragons? That team beats the Knights without question.
Easy, yeah.
But you don't know who's showing up. And I weirdly, after the week that the Knights have had and the fact that Hastings is finally getting a shot, I actually have a lot of faith in the Knights for some reason.
The problem is this, though. If Hastings kills it and they win, what happens?
It just adds to that O'Brien doesn't know what he's been doing the whole year rhetoric.
And I don't want to be too harsh. They've got injuries. I get it. I understand why he's been brought in, but it does, because when you have such a good player, and I don't know what else is going on in regards to the other stuff, but when you got such a good player on such an amount of money sitting in reserve grade, the question will always be, why hasn't he been in that first grade side? Even if there's all these reasons off the field or whatever, and if he does come in and kill it, then the problem is this, is that, okay, so you did select him, so therefore you're saying, okay, whatever he did off the field, it's not so bad that you just won't select him, because you could have put Phoenix Crossland in the 7, and you could have put Brayley at 9, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. And so that's the problem that O'Brien faces. If he kills it, mate, he's got even more questions around a tough position. And again, I don't want to hold it against Adam O'Brien because I understand why I brought him in. He's got so many injuries, but it will add to the questions, unfortunately.
Look, that's it. Cogger's at 7. You could have played Cross on at 6. Or, sorry, mix those two. Cogger at 6 and Cross on at 7. You've got Jaden Brayley at 9. Even Matt Arthur's at 14.
Really? So Matt Arthur is at 14?
The fact that...
So where's Crossland then?
Crossland's playing 13. He's playing lock.
You know what? Maybe it really is they're decimated. Maybe.
Well and truly.
They're well and truly like, it is, we have no one. We need... And I will say their front row is absolutely decimated. So, look, again, even though I can't hold it against Adam O'Brien, the problem is it still will be a question if he doesn't play well.
Big time.
So that sucks for Adam O'Brien when everything he's going through currently right now. Look, I think Roosters get the job done, but we'll see. But yeah, let's head to a break and continue previewing the round after the break. Welcome back to the Captain's Run. North Queensland Cowboys v the Dolphins. Queensland Country Bank Stadium. Ins 4 out for Origin duty. Dearden, Cotter, Nanai, Robson. Bateman and Avalia suspended. Drinkwater named captain. Taulungi Taumalolo returned from calf injuries. Clifford at halfback for Dearden. Caden Lars to debut. Leroy Lars' son, I'm pretty sure. Dolphins team news. Hammer missing through Origin. Averillo moves to fullback. And Max Finai into the centres. Ray Stone returns from shoulder injury onto the bench. Saifidi, Gilbert, Plath ruled out for the season. Cruel blow for Plath, who returned against the Dragons for another injury. Man, this is so hard to pick. What Cowboys turns up? You know, the one in the first half with the Storm where they look like they're going tit for tat, or the one that just gets blown off the park. The Dolphins, on the other hand, mate, some of the footy they're playing, they are easily the dark horse of the competition. Can they win a comp? I don't think so, but can they upset a lot of teams? They've currently got scalps of the Storm, the Bulldogs, and also the Penrith Panthers. That are the scalps that the Dolphins have this year, which is, I don't think there'll be many teams that have all three, and they've got all three. So really interesting to see which team turns up. I will say the Dolphins, they might be the toughest team in the competition. The fact that they have so many injuries and they still continue to put out these performances is nothing short of amazing. Like, the Gilbert, one gone, Saifidi gone, Plath gone. That's your starting front row essentially there. Plath at 13, Gilbert can play in front row, Saifidi front row. Like, that's a starting front row. Haven't even said Flegler yet. So you got Flegler, Saifidi, Gilbert, Plath. That's nearly your starting bloody forward pack.
They've been without Jeremy Marshall-King for a fair bunch of it as well. Mate,
it is insane. And they're currently in the 8 as well. So they're sitting at 7th, I'm pretty sure. And it's just amazing what Wolf has achieved. And listen, I think Ricky Stewart is probably the front runner for Dally M Coach of the Year so far. However, Christian Wolf is a smoky. And I don't think enough people are talking about it. They are currently sitting 7th. They've got 6 wins. They're on 14 points, which is obviously 3. Just trying to think, 6 wins. So they're 2 wins behind the Melbourne Storm, with all the buys and everything. And so if they're 2 wins behind the Melbourne Storm, you just don't know. Like, if the Dolphins went on a bit of a run, they could keep in contact with that top 4. And I might even say, if the Dolphins ended up in the top 4 at the end of the year, I think your Christian Wolf would be a big, big shout for Dally M Coach of the Year. And as I said, currently I've got Ricky Stewart just because of what he's done. But, man, the Dolphins, they're in the top 8. They're only 2 wins away from the Melbourne Storm with all the injuries they've had, with everything they've had against them, the fact that they've only been in the NRL for 3 or 4 years. I think it's amazing.
I think you'll see, if they do go on a run, this will be one of the best post-Wayne Bennett first years, right?
Yeah, I think South got into a prelim.
Oh, did they? With Demetrio?
With Demetrio. The only difference with that is, like, South is an established club with an established roster. Like, you had a roster that had been dominant for years. Like
True.
they'd gotten to prelim after prelim after prelim under Bennett, gotten to a grand final, gotten to a prelim. Whereas like the Dolphins, not like I don't even think the Rabbitohs were this decimated by injury, and also there's no like history. They haven't even made finals yet. You know, it's amazing. I think it really is.
Really cruel. I know we talked about it, but really cruel for Max Plath. The fact that he's just returned.
If he had been
injury.
fit all year, I reckon he makes the Origin side.
Do you think if he got through the weekend unscathed, he could have been around the camp?
Maybe around the camp. I don't think in the squad. Like, very, very risky to bring him in so underdone as a rookie.
True.
But I think if he was fit all year, absolutely I'd see him in that. Because he's made for Origin. Like, I think he'd be perfect for Origin. Now, in regards to the Cowboys, just a bizarre team. Because right now they sit 6th. The only problem is the ladder is a little bit misleading because they actually only have 5 wins. So they've got the same wins as 10th, 11th, and if you actually put their points differential in, they should be sitting 12th.
Wow.
And so that's what's so bizarre about this ladder. So, like, if you're a Cowboys fan, you sit there going, oh, yeah, like, you know, we're 6th, we're all good. And granted, I understand, like, let's assume that, you know, you keep winning and the buys and everything like that all, you know, come to the same amount. And also you're assuming the other players that haven't had the buy yet keep winning as well. But yeah, it is. You have to note that they actually only have 5 wins. There are teams underneath them with 6 wins. To me, if we're talking about, we talked about it before, that next man up mentality, Cowboys, that's the epitome of the next man up team for me. Dearden's out. You can bring in someone like Clifford. They've had people like Braden Burns come in throughout the season to just jump in and have a run. Yep.
Like they're incredibly stacked for depth. I think.
Got a great roster. I think the only thing that they probably need a bit in is in the middle. Maybe a little bit of depth there. But yeah, you're right. In the outside backs in the key positions, they're stacked. I mean, you haven't even mentioned Duffy, Tom Duffy.
Exactly.
He's a gun. He's an absolute gun.
The fact that we're only just seeing Talangi kind of just come back in now as well.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, their roster, if they could just land a really, really good front rower coming through, I think that would just take it to the next level. But yeah, I agree with you, mate. I think it's a bloody good roster. But okay, we'll go on to the next game. Rabbitohs v the Bulldogs. Rabbitohs, Jai Gray, fullback, Cover Latrelli Mitt. Jaden Sullivan at 6, Humphreys at 7, Cody Walker out with a groin injury, Campbell Graham named in the reserves. Bulldogs team news, Galvin moves into the starting side to cover Burton, Kiraz to centre to cover Crichton, Wilson onto the wing. What about the depth for the Bulldogs? To bring someone in like a Wilson is a gun. Curran moves to the front row, Preston returns from suspension, Kurt Mann to debut for the Maroons. What about Preston is coming back into the side? Like, he was on the verge of an Origin call-up. That's how good he was going.
Big time. And the depth there is actually ridiculous. That, like, obviously Galvin's been talked about, you know, till the cows come home. Burton's out. You bring in Galvin. You're losing. They've lost Tupanua's out as well. Like, there is so many players that are out for them, and they've still got a first-grade squad.
It's crazy. You look at, like, okay, so they're going to go into this game with Marnie, Galvin, Sexton, Tracy. Like, is Galvin really that much far off Burton? Like, no, I don't think so. Don't get me wrong. I still have Burton as a better player, but he's not that far off him in regards to what he can deliver. I thought Burton last week was absolutely phenomenal. Like, just his running game. I love when Burton just almost don't even think about passing. Just think run first every time. The passing will come. It'll come. But in regards to this game, look, the Rabbitohs at the moment, the tough thing for the Rabbitohs is they're sitting 12th. They actually have 6 wins. And so that actually is the same amount of wins as the Dolphins and the Broncos and the Seagulls. So that's good. But they've just got to, you know, close enough isn't good enough. So I think there's a lot of Rabbitohs fans out there going, geez, we've been so brave this year. And, you know, I'm really happy with how our team's fought. But at the same time, like, you can only be happy with that so far. You need to get the wins eventually. And granted, are they going up against Raiders, Bulldogs? It's like the worst back-to-back you could have. Yes. But I do think that, like, for only so long, I think right now Rabbitohs fans are satisfied with the year, with everything they've gone against them, everything that's happened. But I don't think by the end of the year, they're still going to be okay with, we fought really hard this game. Oh, geez, we were in it for a bit. I think the results are going to have to start coming soon. Maybe not this week against the Doggies, but at the very least the following week, they need to go on a bit of a run because they're starting to get all their boys back. Obviously, Cody Walker being out again with a soft tissue injury is a bit of a concern with his age. But they're probably going to need to get some wins up together because I think that this team can make the 8. I really do, with Wayne Bennett leading them.
Earlier in the season, when they were sort of blooding Humphreys and Humphreys was getting more of a run, some results didn't go their way, some did. Like the positive was, we're blooding Humphreys.
Yeah.
And, we're getting him game time. It's a long-term project.
And we're playing tough as well. Like,
yep.
we're so undermanned. We're tough. We're hanging in games. And I'm with you. Like, I just think that at some point, Rabbitohs fans are going, that's good, but we want to win. We want to win.
That's it. And as it gets to crunch time of the season, you're going to want to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, huge game. Cannot wait for it. It's going to be a blockbuster. We're going to head to a break. And after the break, we've got plenty more to talk about. So make sure to stay tuned. Welcome back to the Captain's Run, brought to you by Bloke Jumpers at bloke.shop. Go to www.bloke.shop. Grab your jumpers today. Got maroon and blue, got the hats as well. And also, don't forget to join the Bloke Club. You automatically go in the draw to win a Mazda BT50. We are literally drawing that at the end of this month. It is totally free to join the Bloke Club at www.bloke.club. Totally free, no strings attached, and we give away prizes every month. This month, thanks to Coastal Letting Co., we are giving away a trip valued at $2,200, a 7-night stay in Surfers Paradise, thanks to Coastal Letting Co., just for joining the Bloke Club. It's literally free. There's no strings attached. And at the end of the month, we're giving away a Mazda BT50 thanks to Aspley Mazda and Luke Camilleri. If you need a car, give LDC_01 a follow on Instagram. That's Luke Camilleri, and he will take care of you, the best in the business. Thank you to Aspley Mazda. Okay, got some text here. Afternoon, gents. In regards to the Dolphins' front injury woes, how far do you think Josh Allen is away from a call-up, especially going back to the preseason? He was the best on paddock. And was smiling going into contact each hit up, as to say, come and get me. Yeah, listen, it's a hard one because, when you talk about some of these, especially in the front row, I think that we've been a little bit, I don't know, our mind has been a little bit skewed when we look at guys like Tino and Payne Haas, where we go, oh yeah, like if you're 20 years old and you're a gun, like put them in, good to go. But I think in reality, you have to be really patient with your young front rowers because if you put them in too early, they could get, not intimidated, but they could get a little bit banged up. Well, here's a good example, and it's not a forwards, but it's an example of the physicality of the game. I'll never forget Bostock's debut. So he killed it in the trials, and he was this young talent, always going to play first grade. And then he got into first grade, and the physicality, you could just see, he didn't shy away from any of it, but you could just see like it was just a bit too intense for where he was as a player at that stage. Now, granted, Bostock's gone on to be a great first grader. He's going to be a first grader for the next decade. And so it just shows you that timing is everything. And even Wayne Bennett, so he brought him in, and then he dropped him for the rest of the season. I think he might have played one or two others. And so with some of these young front rowers, you've just got to be really patient. You've just got to be really patient with them, especially in the front row. He is 23 years old. So he is a little bit older, but again, as I said, you've just got to make sure you're not rushing these kind of things. Now I got some more text here. Queensland shock call up. Danny Kemp on the wing to save the series. Oh man, I wouldn't be saving anything, that's for sure. Okay, text here. Cameron Ciraldo over Sticky, no question. In just his second year, Ciraldo's taken a wooden spoon side and built a potential powerhouse. Meanwhile, Sticky's still busy feuding with Salmon and calling the weak-gutted dog. One coaching the future, the other stuck in Fox Sports soundbite. Okay, can I have a guess, whoever texts that in? Are you a Bulldogs fan? No, all jokes aside, I do think, listen, if Ciraldo wins it, I've got no knock on that. Like, the only thing I would say is that heading into this season, a lot of people expected the Bulldogs to be top 6 or top 8, whereas a lot of people thought the Raiders would be bottom 4, maybe even wooden spoon. What do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, well and truly, I think they're performing way above what people assumed they were going to. Sticking with the Bulldogs and following on from that text about shot call-ups, can I throw a potential at you? If Blues win Game 2 and we've locked up the series, do you think you could see Laurie Daly hand a debut to Jacob Preston in Game 3 just to blood him?
I wouldn't be dropping blokes. Because Origin's such, if you know what I mean, like Origin's such a special thing. Anytime you can play for your state, it's a special thing. And I just wonder with Daly, like, would it be fair to go to a player? Oh, we're about to go for a whitewash.
True.
You're getting dropped because I just want to blood someone else. I don't think that's fair on the current crop. And also, if I'm Daly, I'm going for the kill.
Yeah, you want that 3-0
Mate,
just to really shove it up people.
think of the torture Daly went through. So now all of us in hindsight can look back on Daly, his initial run, and go, you know what, looking back at that team that guy was up against, like, far out. We were probably too harsh on Daly the first time around. In the moment when it was all happening, it was, he can't coach and these are silly decisions here and silly decisions there. I think that we've moved away from it. Most New South Wales fans, and I can't speak for everyone, I'm just making an assumption here. I think most New South Wales fans go, that team that he was playing against probably would have lost 9 times out of 10. Doesn't matter who the coach was.
Good luck.
Even Bellyache lost during Origin, you know? And I'm trying to think, like, what coach could have possibly come in and beaten that Queensland side on a regular basis during that period? I don't know anyone.
Honestly, no. Like there's even the people that have won over the last few years.
Yep.
Like Freddie, probably no. Madge,
I don't think
no.
so. And so it's like, you look at it and you go, if Daly is to win 3-0, it's like, well, finally he gets to go into a Origin series, at least with the better side on paper. And so if I'm Daly, I'm going for the kill. And look, take out the fact that, look, obviously I don't want Queensland to lose. I want them to win. But just having met Daly a few times and how good of a person he is, just as a person, I'd be super happy for him if that happened. Obviously not happy that it happened, but you know what I'm saying. He's one of the real good guys of rugby league. All righty, we're going to head to a break. See you on the other side. Oh, listen, their arrogance of the run home. They storm in. I'm literally not even done. They're basically pushing me off my chair, yelling Ren and Raven. That's how little the captain's run means here at SEN. I just get pushed out of the studio. The run home. Oh, we're the run home. We're the big bad. We're the best in the business. How about you beat it? How about that? Now, all jokes aside, make sure to stay tuned for the run home. It is next, guys. A really good show planned. And got a text here just to wrap it all up. Hey, Kempy. Laurie was just unlucky, but in saying that, New South Wales are always the best side, even when they get kicked 8-0. Haven't they been the best side since Origin started? Apparently, bunch of flogs. Well, tell me how you really feel. Crackers from Redcliffe. Another text here. Loza got closer than now that coach would have done the same situation. Paulie from West Wallsend. Alrighty, make sure to grab your bloke jumper from www.bloke.shop. We've got blue ones, we've got maroon ones, limited edition. Once they're gone, they're gone. Make sure to stay tuned for the run home, and I'll see you next week.